In this example, we're going to look at how to do a hypothesis test on a contingency table when being asked for independence or an association. So if we look at the example here, we have a biology student's observations of caterpillars on both a flower garden within the college grounds and at a local nature reserve. The size of each caterpillar was estimated into one of three categories: small, medium or large, based on its length and weight. We've been given a contingency table where we have two sets of information. We have the size of the caterpillar and the area in which the caterpillar is found. The student believes that the size of the caterpillar is associated with the area in which it was found. Test at the student's belief at the chi-squared test at the 5% significance level. So if I'm presented with this question, the first thing I'm going to see is that I'm being asked to look for some sort of association, and I'm being specified to use the chi-squared test. So straight away I know I need to be setting my work out using this pro forma. The first piece of information that I am given is that I have the size of each caterpillar. So my first variable is going to be something along the lines of let x be the size of each caterpillar. The other piece of information that I'm given is where the caterpillar was found. So I'm going to let y be the area in which it was found. The next thing I need to be looking for are my hypotheses. What am I actually being asked for? It says at the bottom that the student believes the size of the caterpillar is associated with the area in which the caterpillar was found. My H0 is always looking for independence or that there is no association, so that's what I'm going to put. I'm going to use the word association because that is what the student has used in its question. So the size of the caterpillar is not associated with the area in which it was found. That is my null hypothesis. They are independent, they are not linked at all. Therefore my H1 is the opposite of that, and that is that the size of the caterpillar is associated with the area in which it was found. As with any chi-squared test for independence, it is always one-tailed, and it does say in the question that this is the 5% significance level. The next thing I need to look at is my values for n, m and eventually v. So to do that, I'm going to look at my table of data. I can see here that I have three columns, small, medium and large, so my n value is 3. And I have two rows, so my m value is 2. If you do these the other way around and tell me that n is 2 and m is 3, it does not make a difference. That is perfectly fine. So my value for v is m minus 1 times n minus 1. So 3 take away 1 times 2 take away 1, which gives me a value of 2. The critical value, we're using table 6, the percentage points of the chi-squared distribution. I know, or I've just worked out, that my degrees of freedom are 2, so I'm looking along this column here, and I have a 5% significance level. We're always looking at the upper tail for chi-squared distribution, so despite the fact we're looking for the 5% significance level, we're using 0.95 as our p-value, and I read down and I find where those two cross, and I get a critical value of 5.991. My expected values I need to calculate on the contingency table. So for my expected values, the first thing I need to do is work out the total for each column and each row. So for the college grounds, 21, 12 and 5 make 38, 43, 31 and 26 make 100. And then for my columns, 21 and 43 make 64, 12 and 31 make 43, and 5 and 26 make 31. The grand total, either adding the column or the rows, is 138. Then to work out my expected values, we do row total times column total divided by grand total. So for the first one, for college ground small, just here, I would do the row total, 38, times by the column total, 64, divided by the grand total, 138, and I get the answer 17.62, which I've rounded to 4 significant figures. I do the same for every single one of those 6 values in my contingency table, and I get the 6 expected values for each possible combination. I then need to calculate my test statistic using the formula, the sum of O minus E all squared over E. This can be found on page 6 in the formula booklet. And to do that, I'm going to draw up this table of data where I put in the observed value, the E value, calculate the difference squared, and then divide it by E. So for my first one, I have the college grounds small is 21, the E value is 17.62. If I find the difference and square it, I get 11.42. And then dividing 11.42 by E, so by 17.62, gives me 0.648. I do that for each of the 6 values on my contingency table. Once I've worked out all of those O minus E all squared over E values, my test statistic is the sum of those. So I'm going to add those 6 final answers, and in this particular question I get 2.940. I can then look at comparing that on a chi-squared distribution. The chi-squared distribution is a positively skewed curve, and the first thing I need to do is draw on my critical value. So it's normally to the right hand side where it's starting to come back down, and I mark that as 5.991 that I've calculated earlier in the question. I then take my test statistic and I decide where does that go. 2.940 is much smaller than 5.991, so I'm going to put it to the left hand side. And as the same with most of our questions, we accept in the belly and we reject in the tail. So in this particular question, we accept H0, it's to the left hand side, it's much smaller than my critical value. And therefore I can say that there is no significant evidence to suggest that the size of the caterpillar is associated with the area in which it is found. What that means, by accepting H0, we are saying, we are agreeing that they are not associated, and therefore the student's belief is incorrect. Take some time to process that, make sure you've got everything written down you think might be important, and have a go at some of the questions on hypothesis testing for independence.